What is going on, guys? Back with another live stream. We have 27 of you in here waiting beforehand. That's pretty cool to see. Usually we're like 6. So I think a lot of people are asking questions. And the chat is already going off with a lot of questions, but continue firing away because, as you know, in these ones, we go through our picks. But then when I have time, I try and rapid fire through a few of them. We'll let people trickle in here. Obviously, people ask questions already are here, so we can answer those first. And then we're on the clock in one league, but I mean, I'm on in so many that like it's possible that I check after we make this pick. I'm on a few, but we'll make this pick. We'll make the picks after that, and then we'll do a live Best Ball Mania draft. But we'll do one question first. All right, first question, first person in here. Following your advice for 5 years. Wow, you're in 3 leagues. I would like your advice on the best strategy in a 12-man PPR league, then 10-team Superflex PPR, and a 10-man standard. That's like a 7-part question here. That's probably a difficult one to start with. But I'll say this. My favorite strategy in 12-team PPR is Hero RB. I just like doing that. Hero RB can be with the running back no matter which one. If it's round 2, maybe add a little bit more risk, try and get that higher end player. But that's my favorite, and that's just taking one of those in round 1 or 2, hammering out running back, tight end, quarterback in the middle rounds, I guess early and middle rounds, and then going back to running back, in round like 6, 7, 8, kind of like that. So that's my favorite in like a 12-team PPR. 10-team Superflex, I would just make sure you use similar strategies overall as like a normal redraft league for one quarterback, but just make sure you don't abandon quarterback. Like, you just kind of got to feel out your league. If your league just starts taking quarterbacks left and right super fast, well, guess what? You're going to have to take a quarterback. You can't just be like, oh, I'm getting great value, but then you're starting like Sam Howell and Baker Mayfield as your 2 quarterbacks each week. You're going to get smoked by the teams that have Mahomes and like Kirk Cousins, right? So it's just kind of a field-based thing. See what's happening in the league, adjust from there. And then 10-man standard, running backs. You just got to draft a billion running backs in that one. Okay, let's make this pick. I didn't look at it beforehand, probably should have. Jalen Hurts at pick 29, nice. Stacked with Devonta Smith already, wonderful. And Cooper Kupp. So we can lean running back if one's a good value. We've got 2 decent values. I'm not in love with either of Najee Harris or Joe Mixon, though, but those are 2 options we can queue up. Wide receiver, I like Drake London. That'll be our only consideration of wide receiver. Tight end, that's a no-go. Quarterback, I already have Hurts. That is also a no-go. So either Najee, Mixon, or Drake London. Honestly, I just don't like Najee and Mixon very much. Really want to go with Drake London, and I think I'm going to do that. You can't make me draft a running back. We're going to draft wide receiver there. All right, so we'll only need one more, and then we'll do the draft. So similar in this one, 4th round. Stevenson, we got to pick 35. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, 2 good wide receivers. Yeah, running backs in that same spot, and we're not taking it at 38 if we didn't take it at, what was that, like 42 before. Still nothing with tight end. Still not going to go quarterback, so we'll just take our top wide receiver, and that is Jerry Jeudy. Simple enough there. All right, let's go to Best Ball Mania. Let's fire in a draft. Next question. Who is your Dameon Pierce round 8 through 9 high upside running back this season? Maybe James Cook. Definitely watch the Thursday video because I just go over all my favorite running backs. But I would say, James Cook is one that I really, really like this season. I like the upside of Rachaad White. I would say that like James Cook is probably just like the answer. Like, James Cook is such a slam dunk pick in that general range. But Rachaad White could definitely be good this season. Let's pull up the running back rankings. General 8-9 round is kind of here. Yeah, Montgomery, James Cook, White. James Conner could be, because he's probably going to get significant volume this season. After that, I lose a lot of faith in the running backs like really breaking out. So that's what I would say. Montgomery, Cook, White, James Conner. And maybe Alvin Kamara. But I have a little bit less hope in Kamara just because Jamal Williams is just good enough to whatever team he's on or what the backfield is to get touches. And if he's getting touches, potentially Taysom Hill stealing some touches. Kendre Miller is good enough to also steal some touches. And so it's like if they're just giving it to all these running backs, like it's tough for, Kamara to like truly break out. Plus obviously a 3-game suspension, which isn't a huge deal, but is worth noting. You might put Rachaad White a little bit above Cook, but yes, Cook in the 8th round is perfect. Brian Robinson. I've been warming up a little bit to the Commanders running backs, but not enough to love them. As you kind of saw when I pulled up, again, these are, so some people always ask in these streams, why do I keep taking the top ranked player for like ADP? This is not ADP. What you see on here, these are my specific rankings. I don't actually know if I uploaded the today's adjustment, but they're probably yesterday's rankings, which are going to be basically the exact same. So that's why I draft people at the top, because it's my rankings, right? But yeah, going back down over here, I still like Gibson. I still like, where'd he go? Brian Robinson. But you can kind of see that I have them a little bit lower than like their general ADP. Like they should kind of be up here, dropped a little bit down. Gibson's kind of in that same spot, but I don't know. I have them ranked just like, if I had to guess, 5 to 7 spots behind their ADP for both of them. I just don't buy it yet. I don't buy the Commanders offense being amazing. I don't buy that these two are going to get 100% of the workload. I think Rodriguez could mix in at some point during the season. And I don't buy that Brian Robinson is like a high-end talent. I think Gibson's the one I prefer. But Robinson is going to be the one that's going to be start the year. So we're pick 10. We would take Eckler. We would take Diggs. We would take Allen. Whichever one's left out of those three. 99 times out of 100, when you're pick 10, pick 11, you're basically looking at A.J. Brown and CeeDee Lamb. They just don't fall. Like the top 8, 9 players pretty rarely fall. Sometimes Stephon Diggs, if someone wants to take A.J. Brown or Lamb, but you're basically always forced at this spot, which kind of stinks because a lot of them are very, very similar, but it also means we're going to get someone at that next pick that's really good. So I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, they take Diggs, we take A.J. Brown. That's just kind of how the top 10 picks have been working out in a lot of leagues. 4 will go by. Yeah, Lamb, Adams, Chubb, Wilson, and St. Brown usually happens. Last person gets Saquon. Oh, this person's going to take Saquon. But then there's that little bit drop off. So there's a little bit of drop off into 17 because it's like, do you take Olave? Do you go with Tony Pollard? Do you go with some of these wide receivers? That's a tough choice between Olave and Pollard. Sometimes I do go with Pollard just so I can get that like hero RB build. But we actually get Nick Chubb, which is a pretty sweet start to this draft. Nick Chubb, A.J. Brown. All right. I like this start. Questions. Oh, scroll too far. What are your thoughts on Deuce Vaughn versus Rico Dowdle versus, you didn't put it in there, but versus Malik Davis? Cowboys running back behind Pollard. Yeah, so it seems like right now that Rico's the number 2. One thing I'll say, so first by ADP is Deuce, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure Deuce is going. I mean, I'm thinking about Underdog right now. None of them are being drafted in redraft leagues, so just pick your favorite. But Underdog, I think Deuce goes a little bit before Rico and then goes before Malik at this point. Deuce is like a floor play. So if you are in a deep format, you're in a 16-team league, you're in a format where there's like, I don't know, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and like 4 flex. Like, you know, like you've really, really large roster spots, and you want someone late that like, and it's full PPR that, you know, if you got desperate, there's nothing on free agency, you could throw in there and might get you a few points. I feel like that's what Deuce Vaughn is. Deuce Vaughn is never, and I hate to say it because it's like we've seen some, you know, smaller running backs produce in the past, but he's so small that there's just no world in which Tony Pollard goes down and Deuce Vaughn's getting a significant workload. I don't know that his workload would change that much, and I would say that it's much, much more likely that Rico Dowdle is like the traditional number 2 that would take over many of the carries, that'll be used on early downs, used in goal line situations. So I think Vaughn is fine on Underdog capturing those spikes, especially if you missed out on a pair with Dak or in a deep format, full PPR. But if I was taking one of them in a redraft league, it would be Rico at this point. Which 5 should you keep? All right. Saquon at ADP, which I guess is second round. Jonathan Taylor in the first round. Well, no, we're not doing that. DK Metcalf in the 4th. That one's probably the best value so far. So DK. Brandon Ayuk in the 6th. That's, I believe, like his general ADP. Christian Kirk in the 8th. That's probably second place. Hawkinson in the 9th, probably third place. So we're going DK Metcalf, Christian Kirk, and Hawkinson. And then it's up to you. I think you'd take a running back because you don't have one. So I'd go Saquon and ADP for the last one. Oh, is there more? Is it the same person? There's more. Watson, nice. Oh, well, Garrett Wilson, then, okay, well, I didn't see these ones. Yeah, Garrett Wilson, the 19th, obviously. Dotson, the 19th, unless you can't keep multiple in the 19th, but Garrett Wilson obviously was the winner there. So it's either Metcalf, Kirk Hawkinson, and Garrett Wilson, just keeping a bunch of wide receivers, or like all these dudes you have in the 19th. I don't think you're allowed to do that. How should you draft differently for a 3 wide receiver league versus a 2 wide receiver league? Well, you're going to draft more wide receivers, especially early on. Especially if you have a flex spot, you just need to think in your mind. I know it doesn't seem like it because it's like, oh, we have a flex spot that's going to be used at running back and wide receiver to the same degree. It's not. Like, you basically need to just assume that you're in a 4 wide receiver league with 2 running back spots, because you have the opportunity now to overload at wide receiver and say, okay, I'm just going to draft a ton of them. I know I'm starting 4 every week. That's 4 buys. That's 4 injuries. That's 4 busts. That's 4 really bad performances. That's 4, tsunami games where it's just like you don't want to start any wide receivers. So it's a lot that you're going to mix in and out. But if you think in your mind you might be starting a running back there, you're not going to go as heavy at wide receiver, but you're in a format that favors wide receiver. So wide receiver early. You just got to do it in a 3 wide receiver format. Probably just pivot to Malik instead of Rico. Now, I don't know. I wouldn't really draft Malik Davis right now. Drop A-Chain for Gainwell. A-Chain's outlook isn't looking amazing, especially with not only the injury, the usage in the preseason, and their semi-interest in JT. I don't know if they're going to get JT. They're probably not. But I would not be against that. I don't really want to draft A-Chain right now. He needs so much to go right at this point. Like, it's Jeff Wilson and it's Mostert. I think it's Mostert then Jeff Wilson. They're the 2 that you're going to want at this point. I really need to drop. I dropped A-Chain. He's well below ADP in the rankings, but I need to drop him even more. Okay, we're up next at pick 34, and we've got multiple really good values at this pick. I would obviously take Allen if he's there. I have to assume this team with Stephon Diggs is now just jumping for joy for these last 15 seconds. There's no way that happens. I think I would take JT at 26. I mean, ADP of 26, he'd be the top player in the rankings after this person autos. And then, yeah, I'm getting it 34. He requests a trade. I guess I wouldn't know where he's going to, but the odds are he's not going to the Browns, I would just hope. I don't know. I mean, that's too good a value for me to pass up, I think. I don't think I can pass that up. Because what I think about it, too, is if he works out, a lot of people in Best Ball Mania that drafted Jonathan Taylor are drafting him in like a late second, maybe an early 3rd round ADP. Very few up until this point, and it's 75% filled now, have him this late of an ADP. So if it works out and I'm getting one of the best ADPs available, that's obviously a very, very good thing. And honestly, there's less risk getting in like the late 3rd round. I mean, there's less risk with all these running backs now. Okay, we'll look at running back. No go, right? With our pick here, we would take Jerry Jeudy. This person's already got 3 wide receivers. We would not take a tight end, and we would take Lamar. So Lamar or Jeudy. I might actually take Lamar. I mean, we have no stack yet, but Baltimore's a pretty easy stack to find later on. You can get Flowers, you can get Bateman, and you can get Odell. And I could even, honestly, I could do J.K. Dobbins. It's not the best stack, but that's good value too. Getting him at 39. Yeah, it's an easy stack to make. The best stacks are when that happens, right? Like when you have a quarterback to where it's like, okay, I draft this quarterback, but what if they just don't have any more left and I don't have the stack yet? You kind of just have to pass on them, even if they're really good value. But pretty much everyone for Lamar, besides Mark Andrews, who missed out on, is left, right? So we can just pick our choosing for this stack that we're going to have here. So I like this start right now. Lamar, Chubb, Taylor, and A.J. Brown. This is a good start. Are you drafting Kincaid, Laporta, Musgrave at their new ADPs? Yeah, all are definitely on the rise. I think Kincaid's up to like the 1-teens. Laporta is probably closer to pick 155 or so. Musgrave, I think all the way up to like 180 now. Definitely Musgrave because, I mean, at that point of the draft, like don't worry too much about value. It doesn't matter too much, especially if you're in like a Jordan Love build. You just want to be stacking, the Packers. You believe in his talent. The difference between 200, 190, 180 is pretty marginal in general. So, yeah, I'd still draft Musgrave. Laporta, I'm definitely still drafting. I prefer to do it on teams where I'm stacking Goff. So if I started off with, say, Amon St. Brown, and then I got Goff, I'm leaning towards getting Laporta because Laporta's value is also going to come from touchdowns. That's going to correlate beautifully with Goff. So on those teams, I'm really seeking out Laporta. And then Kincaid, definitely if I draft Josh Allen, I would say I don't go after him as much when he's going like, I'll pull this up here. When he's going, yeah, he's at 117. If he falls into the 120s, I think that's fine. I think the closer he gets to Njoku and Pat, the less I like it. And so I don't typically draft him, basically in the 1 teens. But when he falls, which he does sometimes, I have been getting him at like pick 130 still in new ADP. Any plan on a mock auction draft? I just haven't had time to do that for the mock draft Mondays. We have the new tool on the site that should help you draft in the auction leagues. If you have the choice, one option, without knowing what will come in the following rounds, are you taking McCaffrey or Chase with the 102? A question I get all the time is full PPR, 12-man league. It's such a tough call. I think if I was on the clock, my lean would be McCaffrey just to open up hero RB, just because it does happen a lot when you get into that like general turn over here. I mean, again, this is Underdog, so it's a little bit different. I actually don't know. I'm assuming it's PPR, so it's not going to be a best ball format. Running backs are gone. Like, you're not getting Chubb, Henry, Pollard. So it's, do you take a shot on Jacobs? Do you take a shot on Gibbs to get that running back in this spot? If Jacobs, because now Jacobs might not even actually be coming back. Who really knows with that situation? But if Jacobs comes back, if JT comes back or gets traded, like, now I have confidence in taking Chase at 2 because I know I can get those guys at the end of round 2. Because I can't get them, you keep starting off with like RB0 builds, and that doesn't feel amazing, right? Let's make our pick. I think it's probably gonna be Christian Kirk, top ranked player. We could use wide receiver. He's a value. I mean, everything just kind of points to him being a good pick here, so we'll go with that. But yeah, I think I would lean McCaffrey just because it opens up hero RB. It gives me someone, and if I have to go heavy for a wide receiver because there's no value running back, I can do it. If I took Chase, at some point I got to take a running back, and so I might be forced into taking running back earlier than I want. And obviously McCaffrey's still a very good player, very good in fantasy. All right. Next question. I lost the next question, but we'll take Deontay if he's available. If he's not available, then we're not in a good spot. Oh, we'll take Trevor maybe. That's an interesting one. Do we finish off quarterback because we have Christian Kirk? My gut says no. My gut says just take Deontay Johnson, take the points there, keep building that wide receiver core. We've got Lamar. We can kind of go later at quarterback. We don't necessarily need Trevor Lawrence. I get Trevor Lawrence in a lot of leagues where he falls into like the 70s. Taking him at ADP. Yeah. I think that's the right move. Take Deontay. We don't need that stack. You have P. Ryan and Sky Moore on the board. Who do you take? You have depth at both running back and wide receiver. In a redraft league, probably Sky Moore would be my lean. 12-team PPR, you traded away Dotson and Montgomery for A.J. Brown and Zeke. Yeah, I think you won that trade. I typically just lean towards the trades to get you the better player, especially if you're drafting in a league that's not hyper competitive. Like, if you think you have an edge over your league mates, you always want to be acquiring higher end players because that's an edge you can't gain, right? Everyone knows what to do in the first 4 or 5 rounds. Like, whether you watch football or not, like, no one's reaching 3 rounds for their favorite player in round 2. Like, it's just not going to happen. So typically you can start off really strong and you can't get amazing value of these higher end players. But if you can acquire those higher end players, maybe you're really good at drafting later on. Maybe you're really good in trades, really good in free agency. And so those things can help you kind of fill that void after the fact. So if you can just keep upgrading your starting lineup, that's going to be beneficial. Although I love, obviously, Dotson and Montgomery. With Jacobs returning, what round would you take him in half PPR? Yeah, that's the kind of what I said before. With him returning, I don't know. Then he tweeted out or put on Instagram, I don't remember which one it was, that he isn't, or like his first he hears of it. I have no idea. I have no idea what's happening with Jacobs right now. But if he returns, it's mid to late round 2 in like pretty much any format, whether it's standard. Standard, he's probably bumped up a little more because all running backs are. But half and full, he's pretty much the same value in both of those. And yeah, it's a round pick in a 12-team league. It's in this general range right here. I think if he came back on Underdog, he'd probably go and pick like 20 to 22. I think in a redraft league, similar, maybe just a little bit earlier in redraft. All right, go London. All right, I don't remember when that was, but rate your team. Not going to give you a grade, but I'll tell you if I like it or not. Quarterback, Daniel Jones and Kyler. All right. McCaffrey, JT, Stevenson, Montgomery, Penny, Fournette. It's a good running back core. Obviously, it's very top heavy with McCaffrey, JT, Ramondre, but Montgomery's still great as well. Wide receivers, Metcalf, Judy, Watson, Godwin, Dotson, Addison. Yeah, it's a good team. I mean, I don't know who your tight end is, but that's a good team. I'll give it a grade. It's like an upper 80s, I feel like. Because obviously you need work on quarterback. If maybe you don't have a high-end quarterback, I don't know your tight end. And wide receivers, not necessarily elite. So high 80s, I would say. Zay Flowers over Bateman as a wide receiver 1. Yeah. Zay Flowers is the wide receiver 1 there. And he'd be the person I'm targeting here. All right. We're almost up. 82. Why does Addison? So every single stream that I do, Addison is a value by ADP. And in almost none of my real drafts, right? I think this is a real draft, but when I'm on the clock in like 30 drafts, these slow drafts, Addison never becomes a value. 3 consecutive streams, he's been like 10 to 12 picks of value. I don't understand it. Why is it when I go live, I get Jordan Addison? Like, you guys are going to think I draft him in every league. I don't have that much of him. I bet you I drafted him below average. Where is Flowers? Did he already go? Wow, he already went at 77. I was planning on getting him. Well, big running back run there too. But yeah, we kind of have to take Addison. All right. Sounds good. I'll take James Cook. I'll take Brandon Cooks. I'll take Rachaad White. Take Elijah Moore at the next pick. I don't know that I would go with Watson. It wouldn't be a terrible pick, but I don't know that I would go there. And that's really all I want is those 3. And I'm third up. So that is perfect. I really want Cooks. I want to gain Cooks exposure. But I take Rachaad White too. There goes Cooks. All right, I'll take Rachaad White. It's a good running back room. Nick Chubb, Taylor, if he can get traded to a half-decent team. And if a team trades for JT, they're asking for a first-round pick. I don't know if they'll get it. But, I mean, listen, if team's giving up a first-round pick and is then likely going to give him an extension, they're going to use him a lot. So if he can get traded, it's probably going to be very good news. We're not going to get Elijah Moore in the next round. But this is a really good start, in my opinion. Despite my protest, my league mates insist on using kickers. That's unfortunate. Don't play in leagues with kickers. So should your last 2 picks be defense then kicker or kicker then defense? It doesn't matter. I don't even have kicker rankings up right now. I probably should at some point. It really doesn't matter. I would say if you've looked at early season schedules and you really want a defense, do defense then kicker. But you're not going to have a big difference. The odds are you'll end up dropping the defense. You're going to drop your defense. Like, the odds that you hit on a defense perfectly is pretty low. You're going to be streaming defense, so that pick doesn't matter too much. But the odds are you'll probably do the same thing for kicker. Like, you're probably just going to look on free agency. There's going to be some kicker this year that ends up kicking a bunch of field goals, and we're going to want him in fantasy. So doesn't matter. But I would probably say defense then kicker just to try and get that early season schedule. Try and lock in one of the good ones for streaming, because that can just help you get a few wins maybe in season, because it does make a difference sometimes. Full PPR. Am I crazy to go Garrett Wilson over A.J. Brown, Devonta, and Amon-Ra St. Brown? No, I wouldn't call you crazy. They're all so close to each other. No, you're not crazy. I'll pull up the difference, the total difference in projections for those 4 players. The range is from 287 to 276. So it's about 10, 11 points. And you're like, oh, that's a decent difference, right? 10, 11 points in projection over an entire season. I mean, it's less than a point per game. It's closer to half a point per game than it is a full point per game. It's not worth thinking about that. Like, get the one you want. If you like Garrett Wilson, if you think that he's going off the season with Rodgers, yeah, take him. Yes, you could always take Garrett Wilson with second bank. Oh, that is one thing though. Watch ADP, right? If the site you're drafting on has Garrett Wilson last among them, and you're picking in a spot where you think there's a good chance you can get him last, maybe it is sharp to take your next favorite and then hope you can also get Garrett Wilson. Because if you take the last ranked, it's less likely the first three will be there, if that makes sense. But up to you. Think of Deuce Vaughn like Darren Sproles. You can, but he's smaller. I don't know how much off the top of my head, but Deuce Vaughn is like the smallest running back we have seen. So they just can't give him a strong workload. But yes, think of him like that, where it's like the value is in the receiving game. It's not on the ground. But I think Sproles is like a lot bigger than Deuce, like size-wise. Okay, 106. We can have like a Jacksonville stack that it doesn't have Trevor Lawrence. We can go with Odell to stack with Lamar, which probably should be the pick. Not going to go with any of those running backs. I would draft Tua if I had Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. I don't, so I'm not going to do that. And then none of the other ones stand out. And there's only one pick before us, so we'll draft one of these two. I feel like we have gotten a little bit lucky in this draft. Like, I keep getting to a spot and being like, like I have like 2 or 3 players I like, and there's 2 or 3 picks before I draft. But this person's been kind of annoying. Who would I take between these two? It's got to be Odell, right? Like, Ingram's a good value, and I get Ingram a lot. And maybe Odell would be there at the next pick, though. Kind of doubt it. I mean, this guy's not going to take a wide receiver, right? He's already got 6. And this person doesn't have a tight end. No one has a quarterback, so we can't look at that stack. Would they go Odell? I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to draft Ingram. I'm playing the ADP game. Take Ingram. I don't think this guy takes a 7th wide receiver, so it's only the Smitty team here. I think they were more likely to take a tight end than to take Odell. Now I kind of forced their hand if they want to take Odell, but is what it is. I think that made sense. It's just a risky one, but also we don't need to necessarily stack Lamar like we would like to, definitely. They go double quarterback. So I don't think triple quarterback happens. Beautiful. And then we still get Odell. Awesome. I don't think I would have gotten both players had I not done that. And that, my friends, is the ADP game. That's why we play it, try and get both players. But yeah, if I had missed out, it's not the end of the world, because if it's a pocket passer, yeah, I mean, that's bad because you need someone they're throwing to. Lamar could just have a really good year. Again, get there in these playoff weeks by having, 120 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. And then at that point, yeah, maybe he throws a touchdown to one of his receivers, but that doesn't necessarily like get you there, right? Like, Odell can catch a touchdown, not be someone I'm starting that week in this best ball lineup. You still need more than that, and Lamar can get there on his own. Beautiful. All right. I like this draft. I do. Would you feel... We lost it. Would you be comfortable with this running back room in full PPR? Javonte Williams, Ken Walker, Madison, Gibson, and Roschon. Not really. I mean, you're kind of lacking a clear running back 1. You're lacking a clear running back 2. I think that Walker, Madison, Williams can get there. I don't necessarily feel very confident any of them will be a high-end running back 2. And so, I mean, maybe if you went super, super heavy into wide receiver and those are crushing, you got, high-end receiver, high-end quarterback, tight end play. Yeah. But you better have that, because that's not great. How high are you willing to draft Kelsey in redraft? I'm taking Chase, Jefferson, not in this order. I'm just listing off the players who went in this league. Chase, Jefferson, McCaffrey, Hill, probably Bijan, Kupp, and Eckler. Honestly, like 8-9. Right before you get into this like Diggs, AJ Brown, Lamb, you could argue Kelsey over maybe like Tyreek Hill or Kupp if you really wanted to. I would say 8-9 is probably the earliest I'd want him. Order Bijan, Saquon, Diggs, Lamb, 14 team PPR, 1 flex, no tight end. Well, you didn't give me a tight end, so who cares? Bijan, Diggs, Lamb, Saquon would how I would do off the top of my head. Drop Hunt, Fournette, or Rice for Chuba or injured Burks. Not for Chuba. I don't like Chuba. And you're not dropping Rashee. I would say if you wanted to drop Fournette for Burks, I'd do that. I mean, Fournette has no buzz right now, and Burks is probably going to be good to go pretty early in the season. Would you trade the 3rd and 52nd for the 15th and 25th? I feel like I answered this question in the Discord, like yesterday. 1st and 6th for 2nd and 3rd. And I think my answer was I don't want to give up the 3 pick. That's a question I'd like you guys to answer. Everyone help out Ben Allen over there. 3rd overall pick plus the 52nd pick or 15 and 25. I don't know. Part of me just doesn't want to give up number 3. I know you get 15-25 is still pretty valuable, but I don't think so. I don't think I would do it. How do you feel about Tyreek at 104 instead of Eckler? Oh, like in our draft here? I think that's fine. They're close enough. A lot of running backs just went off the board. My goodness. Okay, we're at 130. Really good value on Nico right here. I'm not even all in on Nico, but that's pretty clear value. Quarterback, a little bit of value on Rodgers, but we don't have a Jets player, so I'm not going to do that. Running back, it looks like a run just went. We're not going to do that. Tight end, nah. All right, Nico. Sounds good to me. And then we might honestly just take another wide receiver at the next pick. Maybe go with either like Boyd or Myers, like one of those two, if they're there at our pick. No, I don't know that Myers is going to fall to us. If we don't get Myers, we're not going to be able to get a stack here with Baltimore. We could take quarterback. We've got a week 13 buys. We can take either Rodgers or Wilson. I don't really want to, though. Because we can hold out for Pickett later on. I actually don't know. I should queue up someone else, though, other than Pickett, just so we're safe. I'm not taking Lazard. I'm not taking one of those. I'm not taking a tight end. All right. I guess we start off Rodgers, and we'll probably just draft Mecole Hardman, or we'll use tight end. So we'll take Conklin, or we can go Ruker in like round 18, but probably Conklin. I just don't love the tight ends for the Jets, and so I think I want to just make this a solo Rodgers with Mecole. Hope that he hits for some like really long touchdowns, and those are the weeks that we're using Rodgers. But I mean, we're gonna kind of assume that Lamar is our quarterback most weeks. But that's pretty good value. It's over a round of value for Aaron Rodgers there. All right, I don't mind it, but Rodgers is probably the first pick in this draft that I don't love. You had the choice in half PPR last night between Dameon Pierce and Aaron Jones. You went with Pierce in the moment. You're regretting it a bit. What are your thoughts? Pretty sure I do have Aaron Jones, even not liking him that much. What'd you say it was? Half PPR? I don't have Aaron Jones with that massive projection. I guess it's only 0.7 points more for Aaron Jones over Pierce, but that's me not projecting Aaron Jones very well and kind of over projecting Pierce. So like if I had the choice, I probably would take Aaron Jones, but I don't think it's a bad choice. I mean, again, 0.7 point difference there. All right. Should you trade DeAndre Swift and Zay Flowers for Breece Hall? Probably, yeah. Yeah, I'd probably make that trade. Lost it there. Do you prefer Pollard or Garrett Wilson in half PPR? Let's see. Shall we? My rankings have Pollard by 0.23 in value. And I think I like that answer. Lock up that running back. I guess if you went with a running back in the first, maybe take Wilson, but yeah, I probably prefer Pollard. Early in the offseason, in Dynasty, you traded the 103 Bryce Young and the 203 for Andrews and Dotson. Super happy with that. What do you think? So you traded Bryce Young. I guess I don't know if this is super flex or not. And 203 and like a rookie draft. No, I think that's good. I think Dotson's like awesome, and you're going to love him for a very long time. And obviously, Mark Andrews is a true difference maker. Yeah, that's a good trade. JT, Pollard, Jacobs, PPR order. Pollard, probably Jacobs, JT right now. Given the first choice, what pick number are you going with in a 12-team PPR league? Probably just one and take Jefferson in full PPR and just lock that up. If you're not doing that, I wouldn't mind a late pick, kind of what I had here, being able to get like, in this 9-10 range isn't bad because you can get 2 of these stud players. Yeah, I would say either take like 1 or 2 or like 9-10 would probably be what I'd go for. 2 flex, half PPR. Would you recommend half PPR or 3 wide receivers? I'd recommend just using the custom rankings instead. Hold on, I have to make my pick first. Are we going to get Lazard at 154 for 30 picks of value to pair with Aaron Rodgers? Oh, that is a heartbreaker. That would have been really nice, but we'll probably just consolation prize take Michael Gallup here. That's a heartbreaker. That would have been so nice. Why'd you got to do it to me? Yeah, whatever. I don't know what I was looking for in his team. I just wanted to see it. All right, we'll take Gallup. I feel like I end up with Gallup on just consolations as well. Like I never get Gallup being like, let's go, I got Gallup. It's like, well, he's 20 spots of value. I like never take Gallup at ADP. It's a good wide receiver core though. AJ Brown, Kirk, Deontay, Addison, Odell, Nico, Gallup. Like I feel very good about them. And we got all of them besides AJ Brown at value. Wonderful. We only have 1 tight end. We're done quarterback. And we invested heavily at running back, so we don't need to go super heavy there. And we're not, because that's horrific value at the running back position. So we're waiting. We're going to draft running back late. Mingo would not be a bad pick here. Pierce would not be a bad pick here. Tight end. Chig's hurt. They didn't update that there. I don't know what it was, though. So I don't feel confident in that. If we just take Mingo, just keep going at wide receiver. Yeah. All right. Take Mingo. That's through round 14. We've got 15, 16, 17, 18. So we got 4 picks. We're going to need to spend a minimum of 1, maybe 2 at tight end, and then 2 at running back, and maybe be done with wide receiver here. Finished off the 8th pretty early. So yeah, 2 running backs, 2 wide receiver, or 2 running backs, 2 tight ends. I think is how we'll close off this draft. Back to that question. 2 flex, half PPR. Would you use half PPR? If you had to only use one of those 2, I would just use probably the normal half PPR rankings, but I would just use the custom rankings. For normal PPR draft leagues, with the flex spot, how should my bench look? Should I be drafting backup tight end? It depends on how many bench spots you have and how early you took them. If you took, a top 6 tight end, don't take a backup. If you took a top 8 quarterback, don't take a backup. But if you drafted like Kirk Cousins, sure, add another one. If you took Anthony Richardson, add another quarterback. If you took Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta, take another tight end. And if you only have 5 bench spots, maybe lean away from taking a backup quarterback or tight end. You need those running back, wide receiver. If you've got 7, 8 bench spots, well, now you've got a lot of backups there. Sure. Even if you took a high end one, but whichever you didn't take higher end. So if you took the quarterback 5 and the tight end 8, 9, you probably want the backup for the tight end there. You need a bench tight end. Oh, I skipped over. A super chat question. Who would you pick number 2 and why in a 10-team full PPR league? Full PPR. We'll pull up the full PPR rankings. Again, this was kind of asked before. I think my lean is McCaffrey over Jamar Chase just because you don't lock yourself into a box. When you make that pick, it is possible if you took Chase that you get to round 2, 3, and there are no good running backs, and you're forced into avoiding running back longer than you want to, and then forced to reach. If you get into 4, 5, 6, and you're like, there's no running back value, now you got to reach on one. McCaffrey's really good. He's going to be great for your team. You take him. If you get really good running back value in 2, do it and then abandon for a while. But if you don't, it's okay. Go hero. So I think strategy-wise, just better to lock up McCaffrey there. But if McCaffrey goes 1, I'm taking Jefferson. I'm not going down into like Eckler or Bijan. I'm taking Jefferson at 2 if he's there. Need a bench tight end. Higbee, Laporta, Okonkwo, Johnson, Musgrave. Oh, my pick's going to be up. Do that one first. Running backs. I would take Tajay. If he's there, that would be nice. Tight ends. That's not good. We're going to probably want Likely, but not at this pick and not the next one. Probably like 203, 206 if we can get that. Yeah, thank goodness we can get Tajay here. I think Tajay is the clear 2. For the Titans, good player, great upside. If there's an injury, can mix in for some points before an injury. Our next pick, though, I mean, we're going to need 2 tight ends. We'd probably take Knox if he's there. Hold off. I don't want to take Likely, this early. But if he's not there, we can't take a tight end, so we have to take a running back. I don't know that I would take Jerome Ford. All right, yeah, that's good because I don't know what I would have done there. We don't need to check bye week too much because we're going to draft 3. We're not going to draft 3 with the same bye week. A little bit of week 7 action over here, though. We're going to have 2 with the same bye week, but again, that's totally fine. Everyone will be good in that week. Okay, so 2 picks left. We need 1 running back, one tight end. I think we're going to maybe get Likely, and then it would basically be, one of this would be our hope. But again, I don't really want Jerome Ford, but I guess if he's going to fall into the 200s, I'm fine with it. All right, you need a bench tight end. I mean, I would just prefer get Laporta or Jawan, I think. And that's not saying draft Jawan over Higbee. It's saying wait past the Higbee range because Higbee goes first to the Laporta range. If you don't get Laporta, wait to the Jawan and Musgrave range. And if you miss out on everyone, I think Musgrave is probably the last one, but Laporta, Jawan, Musgrave would be the ones I'd want. Do you like Likely? I wouldn't say I'm over the moon for him, but if Andrews ever got hurt, he'd be really, really, really good in fantasy. I think that he can be utilized to a degree while Andrews is healthy, but I wouldn't expect him to really pay anything off. It would just be me, grabbing an extra tight end that could spike for some touchdowns because I kind of wait a little bit. I guess I wouldn't necessarily need to. I think Evan Ingram's going to have a really good year. I think Knox can score some touchdowns, so I don't think I need to go with that third, but just with the correlation, I think it just makes sense to, right? Because there's also not a bunch of running backs that I really want. We did say we were going to get Mecole, though. So theoretically, I could go Ty Chandler, Mecole. Would be nice. I also do like Rashid Shaheed. I know he's been injured, but he's going to be fine. And I like Michael Wilson too. I'm open to not drafting that third one. Because, yeah, Evan Ingram's going to be on the field every play. They're going to run a ton of 2 and 3 even tight end sets this season. He's going to be filled all the time. And he's going to split out, as a wide receiver a lot. So maybe we don't need it. Yeah, maybe we don't need the Likely pick. All right. And we just overload wide receiver. We just say wide receiver is definitely filling the flex every week because we had another one in there. And, plenty of options every week. And so running back doesn't necessarily need to be as strong as we're only getting 2 every week. All right. Maybe we'll do that. But it's kind of predicated on Ty Chandler being there. And these guys only have 5 they only have 5 running backs. I think one of them, at least one's going to take one. Who do they have? He's got to take a running back, right? You got to think these teams are taking running back. They're not. We might get it. How do you feel about Jawan versus Laporta? I mean, straight up, I want Laporta. At cost, probably still Laporta. They just need him. Who else are they throwing to while Williams is suspended? They got the running backs, and they've got St. Brown. They don't have a wide receiver stepping up. I think they're a sneaky team that could trade for someone or pick someone up off free agency, like if someone gets cut that they like, but who do they have to throw to? They got to use Laporta. You have Hill, Diggs, and Allen as my wide receivers with Herbert. Congratulations. After drafting 2 wide receivers with my... Sorry. The suspense was getting to me. I want to see... Ertz, is this guy going to snipe us? Puka. All right. So it's take Ty. Okay. Take Ty Chandler. And do we really think someone's going to take Mecole? I don't think so. We might get it. If we can get Mecole Hardman, I really like our build. 1 pick left. He's going to take a wide receiver. You cannot go with 6 wide receivers. But if not, we'll take Rashid. Wow. This team is only going to go with Lamb, St. Brown, I guess because they went heavy early, but still only 6 is risky. 3 with the same bye week. You didn't need all these running backs. I don't agree with this build at all, personally. All right, there it is. Lamar and Aaron Rodgers. We've got Chubb, JT, White, Spears, and Ty Chandler. A lot of really good wide receivers. A.J. Brown, Kirk, Deontay, Addison, Odell, Collins, Gallup, Mingo, Mecole, and then Evan Ingram, Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox. I think that's great, personally. I'm going to exit out of that one probably, but okay. I'll answer a few more questions and we got to hop on out of here. After drafting 2 wide receivers in the first 2 picks, would you go with Mark Andrews or a running back such as Mixon or Najee? I don't like Mixon or Najee enough to take over Mark Andrews. I think I'd still just like bear down, and that's why we like Hero RB. That's why we're leaning running back in that first 2 rounds if we can, because, yeah, I think I'd still lean Mark Andrews. Thoughts on 10-team PPR, your entire team here? Lawrence, Bijan, Chubb, Olave, Hopkins, Andrews, London. Yeah, it's a great team. It's a great team. All right. I'm going to scroll through for one question here. It feels like these weren't even directed towards me. All right, last one. Given the choice between Eckler or Kelsey, you have Kupp and Pollard as keepers. Eckler. Get Eckler, Pollard. You got Kupp. Hammer out other positions after that. I know you could go with Kelsey and kind of have the 3, but I think it's more. Just securing Pollard and Eckler lets you do anything. If you want to draft 7 straight rounds with no running back, I think that's completely fine. If you wanted to wait until the middle rounds to get some of the ones we've talked about before that we really like, I think that's fine. Getting Pollard, I don't know. Getting Pollard just kind of locks you a little bit more in, doesn't allow as much flexibility because you will still need someone. I would go with Eckler. I mean, he's going to be great this season, obviously. We had a nice super chat here. Thanks for all the great free YouTube content. Really appreciate it. Appreciate all of you as well. All right. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be, I think it's running backs not to draft. It might also be wide receivers not to draft based off of site ADPs. That same thing with like all the different sites. And then Thursday is going to be the updated must draft running backs video. So I'll catch you guys on the stream next week. But have a good one. Lucky drafting. I'll see you guys later.